Um, in my humble opinion, Kerry Lake should be the current sitting governor of Arizona, but that didn't happen because of voter fraud. And I am all for Andy Biggs, but in your opinion, has enough been done to clean up voter fraud in Arizona so that Andy Biggs and other MAGA candidates can actually be elected into put into office?
Great question. So the first answer is we don't know, but probably yes. And the reason being, of course, President Trump won the state by nearly 200,000 votes. And it's because we embraced early voting and we did ballot chasing, which increases our ability to not have a bunch of machines fail on election day. So I think we proved in 2024 that we can win statewide. Also, just so we are clear, we just had a major legal decision where we just removed a bunch of non-citizens and questionable people from our voter rolls here in Arizona. A huge decision that was not covered. But look, no election is going to be perfect. Nothing is going to be, 100% precise. But this is a fact, and this is why I believe Andy Biggs can be governor of Arizona. Of course, obviously, and that's why we endorsed him, is that Donald Trump won the state in Arizona more than any other battleground state. It's the best performing battleground state. That's remarkable. And we won House seats and we won legislative seats. And it was large in part thanks to our Turning Point Action ballot chasing operation. So Andy Biggs is a disciplined guy. He's a conservative guy. He's a family guy. And I will also notice this. Some people say, well, Andy Biggs can't win a general election. Well, first of all, Andy Biggs is the only person running who's actually ever been elected to something. So that's a weird contention. Number two, be careful thinking that a more moderate candidate can automatically win statewide. Just say that to Senator Martha McSally. She lost twice statewide, being a moderate candidate from Tucson. Didn't work. Thirdly, do you know that 1 out of all 3 people in the Phoenix metro area live in the East Valley? It is a largely forgotten ingredient to the Arizona political formula. The East Valley, of course, is Mesa, Chandler, Gilbert, Queen Creek. This tends to be a very Mormon population. Andy is LDS. They tend to have undervoted for Republicans in recent years. They have significantly undervoted. The main reason being is they might not like Trump or they were too tied to Jeff Flake or whatever. Andy will run up the score in the East Valley, and that is in Mesa and Chandler and Apache Junction. Why? He represents that area, and he is very well respected. He was a state legislative candidate there, office holder there. So for all those reasons, and I believe that Andy Biggs could actually be a better election candidate versus a more moderate candidate. And let me make a third argument, is that if we are trying to rebuild the Trump coalition, where Trump won this state by nearly 200,000 votes, yes, of course, moderates matter. But do they matter as much as the hundreds of thousands of working men that may not vote in the midterms? I can make an argument someone more in the Trump mold in November of 2026 in a statewide election is actually more likely to defeat Katie Hobbs than someone that is a more moderate kind of lookalike of Katie Hobbs. Nothing against the attempt to try to run a more moderate candidate. I know the intent. The intent is like, look, we want to win back the governor's mansion. But I would actually say that Andy Biggs being more conservative is not a disadvantage. It is actually an advantage to winning the governor's race in Arizona. Or else the plumbers, the welders, electricians, the young men on campus that I talk to, they are going to need a reason to go vote. And a more MAGA-type candidate is one in a lower turnout election like we are going to see in 2026 versus 2024. Someone like Andy Biggs is, in my opinion, no-brainer. So 1 out of 3 voters from the East Valley, and not to mention the rurals. If you run a more moderate candidate, the counties like Cochise and Yuma, the counties that are very, very conservative, they tend to have a underrepresentation. They tend to undervote. And we want to see candidates that are able to communicate in Yavapai, which is a very conservative candidate, and run up the score there. So to answer your question, yes, I have full faith that Andy Biggs can win. We've made some changes. We need to make even more. But President Donald Trump winning by 200,000 votes in 2024 is evidence that a Republican can win statewide here in Arizona. And I hope to win back the attorney generals, the secretary of state, and the governors. And Andy Biggs being at the top of the ticket will give us a great advantage to do that, and will help us tremendously to make J.D. Vance the 48th president of the United States in 2028, because this state will matter significantly in the 2028 map. If
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel.